hello fellow members. Welcome to the Echo Team Podcast. My name is Tim. I'm your host today, and with me today is...
Hey guys, I'm Skybane 0, manager of 100K Strong, and I'm the co-host of this podcast.
Hi, my name is Zetta. I'm in charge of 100K's Rocket and Neo Devroom events, and I didn't choose the Reaper Life chose me.
I'm Dashe, and I did all my Christmas shopping early.
And I'm Nathan, and I am buried to my neck in video games, and I love it.
Alrighty, so guys, we're in the 25th anniversary of Mega Man. How do you think, I don't know too much about what's going on because it seems pretty lukewarm, but what do you think of Capcom's, at least Capcom of America's, plans of the anniversary?
Okay, to begin with, well, me personally, I wasn't really expecting anything big from Capcom for Mega Man's 25th. Well, okay, if you look at my Get Me Off the Moon post leading up to that day, you can pretty much tell. But still, between all the hype that Brett and Greg were building up for this event, I kind of thought Capcom USA would at least, do something, have something exciting up their sleeves.
Aside from Street Fighter X Mega Man.
Well, okay, that reaction's pretty lukewarm.
Well, that's just it, right? They've done some things, but because you kind of had certain expectations, because when they kind of went all out with Street Fighter's 25th anniversary, and you're just kind of looking at Mega Man and just like, maybe they have some more plans, but...
If I remember right, the other stuff they did, like, for the day of his anniversary, were there's Mega Busters you can buy on Xbox Live for your little avatar thing. Mega Man's 1 through 6 are coming to the 3DS eShop, and I want to say there was a fourth thing, but I forget what it was.
T-shirts?
Yeah, shirts. I mean, like I said, Brett and Greg were hyping this up to what seemed like ridiculous extents, and, as a result, okay, I didn't expect anything really big from them, but because of all their hyping, when the 25th anniversary ended, I couldn't help but feel just a little disappointed in them. I mean, okay, yeah, they put out all those things we mentioned, but those are not very big. And I just seriously could not see the hype in all of that, if that's what they were referring when they were talking about the big stuff they had planned.
Well, in their defense, they're saying that this is just the beginning and more stuff will come along the year. But,
But the very day of the 25th anniversary, you'd think they would have something exciting to share. And Street Fighter Cross Mega Man is exciting in its own right, but it's still an 8-bit game. And it wasn't even something prepared by them. They said that they would have stuff to commemorate the anniversary, but that's... Okay, it's a fan game, and I can't really even say that it was to their credit.
Well, remember, Svensson, what did he say about it, too? He said he was gonna... Didn't he say he was gonna have, like, some ideas kind of dictating the whole year? Because they got the whole year for the anniversary, so they got that in their defense.
No, I know that. I'm just saying that I would have thought they'd have more exciting stuff to share on the actual date of the anniversary.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I thought the most exciting thing about Street Fighter X Mega Man was that it was a fan game, and they did this for it. The game itself was kind of
mediocre.
Yeah.
Well, I did kind of like how Brelston phrased it, where you got the ending of Street Fighter and leading into Mega Man, because I'm sure, Capcom of America, especially like Brelston and Gregaman, and I say Svensson too, that they do want to do stuff, but some of the calls still have to be from Capcom of Japan, right? But...
Well...
Most of the calls.
Well, Street Fighter Cross Mega Man was pretty much Capcom USA's doing. They only went to Capcom Japan to obtain the rights for Mega Man. But that was pretty much it. They allowed that whole project themselves.
I mean, I can't remember the exact quote, but I think I remember Sven saying that, it would be very unlikely to ever see a Western or non-Japanese developed Mega Man title, so I'm pretty sure they, even though they are a part of the company, I'm pretty sure it wasn't easy for them to get the okay to make Street Fighter Cross Mega Man. And I'm pretty sure one of the reasons why they were able to make it was because of the cross-promotion. If I recall correctly, he said something to the effect of, it wasn't sinking in until he mentioned cross-promotion.
Really? Huh.
Maybe it was one of those things where, like, for company politics reasons, he didn't, like, emphasize how many hoops he had to jump through in order to make this happen. Because if he did, then it would seem like Japan is like this strict tyrant ruler over the American branch. And if they presented themselves as not really having enough voice to get this kind of thing through easily, then it'd reflect badly on them or something. I don't know.
Well, feel free to disagree on this, but at the very least, when I see Street Fighter cross Mega Man, it is kind of, to me at least, that proof that yes, they do care. It's a step in the right direction, but you know, they still gotta do a little bit more to win a lot of people over.
Well, yeah, that goes without saying.
Yeah, I'll admit, I was actually even my brother, who's not really a big Mega Man fan, but he loves Street Fighter 2. He looked at it and he's like, oh, this actually looks pretty cool, and he said, oh, and it's free? That's pretty sweet. And me, I admit I was, more excited than most. I'm sure most people were like, well, it's nice, but Legends, come on.
Well, not just that.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, people just wish that Capcom could have put more effort into it.
Well, I actually like the little gimmick with the Street Fighter bosses where they have that little bar that every time you hit them it goes up, and then they do that super special.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice, but at the same time, it's more of a ending, like I said, Brelston said perfectly, I think, ending Street Fighter, starting Mega Man, and we'll see, obviously, how this whole year plans out, so...
Yeah, I think they should have mentioned that it was the tie-in in the trailer.
Yeah.
Because, like, a lot of people just saw the trailer. I know the first thing, this girl from school I knew, like, texted me and she was all, yeah, there's this new Mega Man game coming out with Street Fighter, and it's still 8-bit. And then I'm just, like, raging, and I don't know anything about it. All I can see is this video that she posted on my Facebook wall. So, yeah, it probably would have been a good idea to mention something about being a tie-in to both anniversaries and Mega Man being mostly 2013.
Well,
it could have saved a lot of rage.
Well, I mean, it is a step in the right direction, but I'm not, well, how do I put it? It's kind of a step in the right direction in the same way. I kind of feel that not so much. Because while it is great, yes, Capcom is actually giving away a game instead of, cutting pieces and saving it for DLC.
Mm-hmm.
But it's great Capcom's giving away the game. They're acknowledging the fan base. Well, they're acknowledging parts of the Mega Man fan base and actually giving them the right to make a fan-made game and promote it. I mean, that in and of itself is great.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I've never seen that from any other video game company. So, I mean, major props to Capcom for that. But whether it's the right step for Mega Man, I don't know. I really don't think that it's a right step for Mega Man. Now, granted, the 8-bit thing, I mean, in my opinion, it's worn out its welcome, and a lot of people would agree with me that
Sven
it has.
and Brett.
A lot of people would agree with me that it's worn out its welcome, but
yeah,
you also have to acknowledge it's a fan game, so, he's gonna do what's easy for him, so, of course, probably gonna be 8-bit or something like that.
And he's a student, too, so he's not really a professional, as far as I know.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's, just getting started out, so it's not gonna be, his greatest work, but what my major fear was that, we might continue to see 8-bit games as the future of Mega Man, and I think that it's really time for us to get with the 21st century.
Well,
the millennium, too. It's last millennium.
I think it's good for Classic, but there's the other series, right?
Yeah, all 6 of them.
Yeah, and it's like Mega Man 0 and Mega Man X are they're perfect examples of kind of moving forward. Like when they first came out on the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy Advance, they did that graphical update, but it became its own thing.
And Mega Man X8, Capcom's latest graphically enhanced platformer, it was fantastic, and I think they could have went forward with that and made excellent games.
I think if they made a Mega Man X game with the graphical style, like the whole design plot of what, going back a bit, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 had, how Zero looked and all that, if they had that type of graphics for a platformer game, That would be amazing.
That would be.
You mean
nice,
like Mega Man X, Maverick Hunter X, basically?
I haven't played Maverick Hunter X, but yes, like that. It just, I mean, that sort of graphical style where it's kind of cell shaded. You know, basically how Marvel vs. Capcom 3 looked. I think that would be, if they made an X game that looked like that and played exactly like the, you know, the PlayStation games or the Super Nintendo games, that to me at least would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I personally would rather HD sprites over, you know, 3D models, but, I mean...
You saw the Mega Man X iOS.
Yeah,
I don't think HD sprites are the way to
go. No, you guys have HD sprites all wrong. I mean, those are classic.
Hold on a second. Right. The ones you were talking about earlier were from King of Fighters, right?
King of Fighters.
And the only times I've seen HD sprites used are fighters like King of Fighters, Blaze Blue, or to another extent, or in another art style, Skullgirls. But the point is, like, you've seen the art style for the Mega Man series, especially the classic one. It's kind of dated, not in like a bad way, but like you can clearly see the Astro Boy inspiration to it. So I'm not sure how well these like brilliantly hand-drawn images are really going to.
It would just have to look like a better version of Mega Man 8 and play more along the lines of the older well, not the older entries, but you know, a lot of people had gripes with Mega Man 8, claiming that you know the gameplay wasn't as good and whatnot. All I'm saying is, I don't think the problem with Mega Man 8 was the way it looked, more so the way it played.
Well, Mega Man X4 had very high-quality sprites, too, and that's regarded as probably one of the best X games.
But X has one art style, and Classic's got another. X, you've got armor. Classic, you're running around with the onesies.
X4 and 8's style of sprites, they're pretty similar.
I guess, but, it might just be me, but I didn't really like 8's art style in comparison to the other two. Like, the little simplistic, cartoony thing, I think, works for Mega Man for two reasons. One, I think it just, like, suits the tone of the series. But more importantly, it makes, like, platforming easier, I think, to have, like, these more boxy sprites. Because Mega Man's a lot about platforming and aiming your shots, and it's very precise. So having these, like, round, like, elongated, more quote-unquote realistic images, I guess, running around, it's harder to keep track of, like, where you are, where you can get hit, where you can't, how far your jump goes, and all that other stuff.
Well, a lot of people
I think it's
like Mega Man powered up. I mean, I'm not saying I want something...
It works because he's all chibi and boxy.
Boxy?
Well, he's very, like, he's not like a tall rectangle. He's, even though he's 3D, his overall shape is kind of just basically a square. Like, his head and his body average out to be, like, the same length and width or whatever.
Well, okay, I was thinking about Mega Man and Bass, which is personally my favorite classic game. I thought the platforming in that was excellent, and, you know, I thought it worked very well with the sprites they use, and the sprites are very similar, if they're not the same, to Mega Man 8.
We're on a bit of a tangent here, aren't we?
Yeah.
I think we covered, like, several Mega Man games in that conversation.
I want it to look more like Rayman Origins. There we go.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I don't think all of us have given our impressions of Street Fighter Cross Mega Man yet.
Well, I pretty much always been terrible with classic Mega Man and just side-scrolling Mega Man in general, so I'm pretty terrible with this. Like, I remember before we started recording, everyone's like, "Oh man, Chun-Li stage, so easy." Yeah, she kicked my butt.
Well, you can kill everything in like one hit. Even though the stuff does come in ridiculously fast. I don't know if it's just the way the game runs on my PC, but like
getting to the bosses isn't the hard part for me. In fact, that's like the
that's easy.
It's ever been. But fighting the actual bosses, I feel like I'm not as huge a classic fan, so maybe they've done this before, but it seems like in this and in Mega Man, Team Reaverbot's 25th game, there's a lot of attacks that sort of home in on you, and like their arcs and their movement patterns are dictated by where you are, and they sort of track you a bit. And like Chun-Li will like jump and heel drop kick you with a different distance depending on where you're moving or something like that. And it makes it a lot harder to dodge that kind of stuff. Like, if her jump is like always this, like, X distance or whatever, then you can sort of predict it, you can slide under it. But if she will, like, adjust her flight arc in order to hit you at the best possible spot, I don't know, maybe I was just imagining it or getting overly aggravated with the game and making crap up, but...
No, that happened. I'm pretty sure that happened.
Is that something that classic games usually have? Like, I want to say that usually,
No.
usually...
It's kind of hard for me to speak because I'm not really a classic fan. But
I'm a huge
everybody
classic
have
fan.
like a basic pattern that really didn't change.
Well, when Nathan's done, I'm just gonna go ahead with my analysis.
Well, actually, I was going to ask you, since you're the classic fan, like, is that something you see a lot in classic games, where they will, like, adjust their attack mid-attack in order to better hit you?
No, that's actually one thing that makes Street Fighter Cross Mega Man so different from the classic games. The bosses don't have a particular pattern. They will adjust their pattern depending on where you're standing, what you're doing, and, you know, where you're moving and stuff like that.
So kind of like how Street Fighter works out when you play against CPU.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never played Street Fighter.
Well,
What happens is CPU will read your button inputs and, like, oh, he's in the air. It's time for a Shoryuken.
And may God have mercy on us.
I hadn't really thought of it that way, that, like, having the enemies be able to adjust their attack pattern so easily, like, makes it relate more to the Street Fighter fan base, I guess. And sort of keep that spirit alive in this game. Like, you've got Mega Man in there. He's already jumping and shooting. But you need to make it feel like the Street Fighter characters aren't just shoehorned in. The Supers were a great touch, but, I guess...
Yeah.
It played more like a Mega Man game, but it still had those Street Fighter elements.
I sort of feel like the developer knew more about Street Fighter than he did Mega Man.
He goes to the Evo, right? Apparently.
Yeah.
So...
Another thing I was going to say was that, like, the reason going off what you said about how he's probably more of a Street Fighter fan than a Mega Man fan, I felt like I said that it was easier to get to the bosses than I've ever had before.
Right.
It's because the level design wasn't exactly as tight as it usually is.
Yeah, there was a Vega stage, which I thought was ingenious, I thought was brilliant, and I thought it would be something that Capcom would actually do. But aside from that, those other stages, they were really easy, and they were really simplistic in their designs.
Maybe it's because I'm not a classic fan, but there was this one part. I was in Viper's stage, and
that's it.
those laser things.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that was the one part I'm like, oh god, why is it so hard?
Yeah,
I thought it was really...
I kept dying there, and I'm like a huge classic fan too.
Oh, come on, guys, I only died there once.
The
lasers, they're like
once
8
I got the hang of it,
I only had the Chun-Li lightning kick, and I was like...
Oh, yeah, that would be hard then. I had the Hadouken by that point.
Oh.
I didn't have
had, like, disgusting slowdown. I still beat Chun-Li.
Probably made it easier.
Yeah, I think that it did, now that you're like, oh yeah, Chun-Li moves so fast.
Well, everything, like, I don't know, the way the enemies were coming at me in her stage, I just thought that everything was going a lot faster than a normal Mega Man game. And I've been hearing a lot of people saying that the game runs a lot, like, it doesn't run uniform across all PCs.
Well,
it has
obviously.
something to do with the engine or something like that.
I really hope they fix that.
Well,
yeah, and just for the listeners here, Svensson from Capcom USA did say that they were talking about making an update to Street Fighter Cross Mega Man.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Some people were complaining about the lack of a save system, and I can definitely
Yeah.
with that. I mean, didn't even the first Mega Man have a password system?
No, it didn't. No.
Oh, the first Mega Man? No, it didn't.
When did passwords come in?
Second.
2.
Okay, so from the second one on. But, like, the excuse I heard was that it could be beaten in 40 minutes, so they felt it wasn't necessary. And I'm just sitting here thinking,
oh, right.
It might be, you might be able to beat it in 40 minutes if you're good at Mega Man. But if you're like me, who had to waste E-Tank just to beat Rose, then, yeah, I'm going to want to be able to save my progress. I'm not going to be able to take all 8 of these people down in one sitting. I'm going to have to play and replay these levels over and over in order to even hope to beat any of them.
Yeah, that excuse was kind of ironic, because they were saying that they wanted the game to appeal more to people who are just getting into Mega Man.
Well, but like I said, I think that's why the stages were a bit easier compared to most Mega Man games, in the sense that, you know, it's still challenging, you know, trial and error, But the second you get to the boss, it's just like, oh my god, they're kicking me.
Well, the game kind of sort of compensates for the lack of a save system, in my opinion, with the amount of, like, health and items that it drops. I mean...
But all that doesn't help you. I guess I should call them Robot Masters, the World Warriors. It's, like, the bosses of each stage have always been the hard part for Mega Man, I think. Like, even people who aren't very good at the games like Mega Man, after a little while, they can make their way through the stage. It's getting to the boss and beating them that's always been the hardest part, and probably the most critically acclaimed part of Mega Man, because, like, the bosses are also well-designed, and their move patterns and attack patterns, they're fun to fight around once you get the hang of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's also really, really hard.
But that's the beauty.
Well, it's only hard if you don't have Metal Blades. But...
Do we have Metal Blades in Street Fighter X Mega Man?
No, not that I know.
Then it's hard. It's hard and no one understands.
Well, you have the Charge Buster, though, and that completely makes up for it, in my opinion.
Well, that's the beauty of the challenge, though, is that once you know, after 10 or 11 tries of, you know, and you finally get it, you're just like, oh my god, I finally did it.
We got time for that.
We must make time, man.
Like,
did anyone play with a controller?
I did.
Yeah, I use my PlayStation 2 controller, actually.
Do they have a built-in controller system in place? Because I was trying to join to key it, and for some reason, it refused to.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
All you have to do is hit F2 on the pause menu, and it'll configure your controller depending on what you want.
Yeah, it says that when you press pause.
Right.
I wouldn't even notice my controller.
When I was trying to set it up...
do you have, Dash?
USB adapter for a PSP controller.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, yeah, same
I've
here.
got a Mad Catz Xbox controller.
I've got a normal
I don't have an Xbox.
360 controller, and I don't know what happened, but when I tried to press start, it didn't work, and I was there flicking all the buttons. I'm like, why won't it work? Why won't it work? And then I pushed down on the right analog stick, and that start. I'm like, wait, what? For some odd reason, like, I don't know. It could have been me. I don't know.
I just pressed enter.
Somehow the start has been rerouted to the right analog stick. But
when I was trying to set up the gamepad controls, one problem I kept bumping into was that it seemed resolute against me using the D-pad to move. It wanted me to use the analog stick, and
that was another thing.
Well, I had that problem too, but all I had to do was turn off the analog and it worked.
I didn't know you could turn off that.
Yeah, if you turn off the analog, it automatically switches to your D-pad.
How do you do that?
Well, that depends on what kind of controller you're using.
Xbox Mad Catz controller or whatever.
Crap, I don't know how to do that. I am not familiar with that controller at all.
You could always try a PS3 controller. Yeah.
I guess, but
Or one of those ancient PS1 controllers that don't have DualShocks.
I have one of those.
Yeah, I'll just plug that right into the computer and be on my way.
Well, USB adapters are like $4.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
those are awesome.
I was gonna say,
things.
Like, that was one of my major pet peeves. I plugged in my official Xbox 360 controller, and I'm like, oh crap, the D-pad doesn't work. And I'm like, an Xbox D-pad sucks anyway, but it's better than nothing. Doing it with analog was just a pain.
Yeah, you cannot do Mega Man with analogs, because if you hit down, you're going to slide instead of jump.
Well, remember, compared to a D-pad, you have more directions to put in. It's just more awkward.
Yeah. Moral of the story, I need to take a closer look at the controller settings, I guess. But anywho, overall, with what little I was able to play, like, I'll be honest, like I said, I'm not good at side-scrolling Mega Man. I basically, just for the download for Dash campaign, I pushed myself to beat one World Warrior that ended up being Rose. I had like 1 pixel of health left after using my E-Tank. And I just like print screen, done, out.
Another thing about that, though, and it's just one of those little touches I like, is the little 8-bit voices for the World Warriors.
I thought that was what they were supposed to be.
I don't know why, it was just so funny. I was laughing half the time. Yeah.
Okay, should I jump right into my...
Yeah.
Okay, first off, let me start off by saying that I've been a classic Mega Man fan for over a decade, and even to this day, I still play the series frequently. I don't know, usually every week I take or every weekend, I choose a classic game to play at random until I beat it. So, naturally, I have a very keen eye when it comes to classic Mega Man gameplay. Now, okay, I had a fun time with the game. I'd like to make that clear right now, and I was very hyped about it. To give you an idea, on the eve of the 25th anniversary, I stood up until 12 o'clock waiting for the release of the game, and once it was released, I immediately downloaded it and played it until 4 in the morning. So, believe me, I had a blast with it. In spite of that, though, I simply have to disagree with Capcom USA that this game feels like an official Capcom platformer, because it does not. I hate to say it, but there are signs everywhere that this game was made by a fan, whether they be in stage design or gameplay quirks.
Just real quick about that, the main thing I noticed about that was in Blanca's stage, the little things falling from the sky. They seemed kind of random and not really, organized at all. It wasn't as tight as you'd expect from an actual Mega Man game.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know a few of the quirks I noticed, personally. Okay, 1, Mega Man jumps a few pixels higher, which, there are only a few, but they do make a significant difference in gameplay. 2, the charge time for the Buster is longer.
I noticed that.
Yeah, 3, the invulnerability time for when you're hit is extended. 4, the pixel sensitivity for when you grab onto the tip of a ladder or climbing down is, I hate to say, it's really off. You have to be positioned almost perfectly above the pixels on the ladder in order to climb down. You know what I mean?
No, I
Which might
understand.
be difficult with the unconventional ladders they feature in this game.
Yeah, you have to be positioned almost perfectly above or below the ladder in order to climb down it. There was this one part in Dalton's stage, I think that's how you pronounce his name, I never played Street Fighter games, so there you go, where, you know those deer enemies? Those deer enemies that, and if any of you ever played that stage, maybe you haven't.
Yes, I believe I do know what you're talking about.
Okay, those enemies were just, I was running out of the room after I got that E-Tank that was in that stage, and those things were chasing me all the way back down to the room, and I was just struggling to get down that ladder and get out of that room, and I just couldn't do it for the life of me. The pixel sensitivity for that was just so accurate, and in the Mega Man series, the pixel sensitivity is not nearly as accurate as that. It was just frustrating as heck. But I also noticed that there were quite a few inconsistencies, level quirks here and there. There's that thing that Nathan mentioned about those flying enemies. But aside from that, in Blanca's stage, I was also noticing there's a lot of slowdown in that level. I don't know if it was just me, but I noticed a lot of slowdown. Even if you were not in the water, you were getting slowed down a lot in that stage. And frankly, I cannot see how that would have been intentional, but it may have been just me. I don't know. Tim, did you notice that?
Honestly, I didn't have any slowdown problems, so...
Okay, it may have been just...
I thought it was just because I had my laptop on.
As I said before, it's made in Game Maker, so, it's not uniform across all PCs, so...
Is it made in Game Maker?
Yeah, it's made in Game Maker.
Oh, I never knew that. That makes sense. That makes complete sense, don't get me wrong. Just...
Another thing I noticed about, you were talking about non-uniform level design. Was it just me? It seemed like some levels, there was a lot of, constant scrolling, like you would find in the Mega Man X game, but some of them were, very short, little blocks of space.
Yeah,
classic games.
You can literally just skip all the enemies in some of the rooms and just go on, whatever. Which is one thing you could not do in, a Capcom Mega Man game. There's always something in one of the rooms that prevented you from just immediately scrolling past that room and moving on.
It's legit complaints, you're not saying, oh my god, this is ruined, but, you're saying, well, from past experience, this is a good attempt, but it's obvious that...
Kind of reminds me of how a while back, I think they released a Sonic 4 or something, and fans were just angry with the fact that the physics weren't as tight as they used to be or something like that.
Oh, I remember that, but I don't know. I some of the complaints I heard about Sonic, I just didn't get.
There was also the fact, well, we talked about this a little already, but, of course this will differ depending on who you ask, but I personally found the game too easy aside from 3 of the bosses. Viper, Vega, Tim, I don't know if you got to him or not. Vega.
No, I,
these 8 bosses.
No, I didn't have too much time to get, to a full playthrough because of the holidays and all that.
Okay, Viper was one of the bosses I had a hard time with.
That stage was ridiculous. The Sniper Joes with the lasers, that was always awkward for me.
Well, I didn't have a problem with those things personally. As I said before, I love Viper's level, but Viper herself was very difficult. She was actually one of the few enemies I had to use an E-Tank with, but
Quick question. When you say Vega, you mean M. Bison?
Vega in North America, so it'd be the class.
Oh.
I don't know anything about Street Fighter. I'm just going by what other people call him.
I do. I'm actually a huge Street Fighter fan.
I know.
I know they had 3 characters with their name swapped because M. Bison used to be Balrog's name, and because Balrog is an African-American boxer, they thought M. Bison was too close to Mike Tyson because that's what they were doing. Yeah. So they were worried about losses, so they flipped 3 names around. But anyway.
So Vega was hard. He was very, very, very hard.
If you remember the Street Fighter 2 games, Vega was, Sagat was hard, Balrog was pretty easy, and Bison was almost impossible back then. Vega, because he flips all over the stage, it was almost, you'd have to be really lucky to beat him. At least from my experience.
He was harder than even the final boss. Now, okay, there were 3 bosses I had a hard time with, like I said before. There was Viper Vega, and then there was the secret boss, who...
I know who he is.
I saw a video of that. That was just insane. I don't know how anyone could beat that.
Probably one of the hardest bosses I've ever had to take on in any Mega Man game. I'm telling you, I had to bring out what felt like every ounce of skill I possessed as a Mega Man fan in order to beat him.
Was it hard but fair?
Sort of. I mean, there's this one cheat move he has. Well, you can dodge it easily, but it'll wipe you out in 1 hit, regardless of your invulnerability time.
Well, that's his thing.
Who are we talking about, I wonder? No,
and you can't even use an E-Tank on him. If you use an E-Tank, it'll recharge his health too.
Oh, what? That is challenging.
Yep.
That...
I know, I saved an E-Tank especially for that occasion, and nope.
That's just...
Why, thank you.
Not evil.
Yeah, I know, and I was so close to wiping him out too.
How do they justify that? What, you're drinking, and then he slices it in half and takes the other half, drinks it himself?
Going back to Street Fighter 2, that particular character showed up in Turbo. Yeah, I've never got to him because it was pretty hard to get to him. Yeah, he's ridiculously hard to beat, I'm told.
Yeah, pretty difficult to get to him. You have to defeat 4 bosses with a perfect rating in order to do that.
Was that the last thing you had to say about it? Like the 3 bosses that were really hard for you?
That's pretty much it. I mean, there were those bosses, but aside from that, I found it probably even easier than Mega Man 5, which is regarded as probably the easiest classic game in the series.
8 was the only one that I could beat really easily. Save for jump, jump, slide, slide, but...
8's pretty hard, actually.
Really?
I'm good at jumping and sliding.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there are some aspects in there where you have to be pretty accurate. I mean, I could beat it easily, too, but I found Mega Man 5 easier.
I might say some blasphemous, but I actually thought easiest in the sense that I really know what I'm doing when I play it, Mega Man 2.
Oh, Mega Man 2 can be really hard.
Oh, it can be... If you don't know what you're doing, it's unrelentlessly hard. But it's, well, you guys seen the sequelitis. He explained it best. With the whole, if you die, you can't blame anyone but yourself.
I guess it could all be summed up by the fact that you just can't be careless with your weapon energy.
Unless you have metal blades.
Well, even then you have to be a little careful. You can't just spam them. Well, I guess people do, but you still have to be a little careful. And that wily room boss. Enough said.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, someone else can go ahead.
Dash?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Street Fighter, and I'm not a fan of Classic, although a lot of people probably beat me up over that. The only Street Fighter I ever played was Street Fighter something. It was an arcade machine in, that you place the shopping carts in a grocery store. So that's about the extent of my experience with Street Fighter, and I was around 8 or so. So I did not know any of these characters. I just kept hearing Chun-Li was the easiest one. So I open the thing up. It plays like Nino Ruin. So I'm running around at the speed of a snail. I mean, I think what Laurent said about being really fast. I've got 2 computers to choose from. Both of them had ridiculous slowdown. So I was playing on the less slow computer, and I actually didn't die against Chun-Li at all. So I was like, it's not too bad.
So even Dash can beat Chun-Li.
Yes, even Dash can beat Chun-Li.
I'm a failure as a gamer.
Well, slowdown would probably make the fight easier, actually.
Yeah, like Laurent said about how she's fast, and apparently Street Fighter fans also say that.
I was talking more about her stage. I was talking about the speed at which the enemies
load at you on
way faster than normal.
I did miss the E-Tank, and I was like, dang it.
I missed it for a very long reason.
That is a hard E-Tank to get. If you're scrolling towards the top of that stage into that room, that samurai thing will just ambush you, and you'll likely fall if you're not careful.
Yeah, only stage other than Shin-Li's I really saw was the start of Ryu's stage, but that stupid Flame Joe was annoying, and with the slowdown, I was like, I can't deal with Sniper Joes with this slowdown. Beating them will just take forever.
Well, you can wipe it out in one shot with a charge shot. Yeah. Even if it does have its shield up.
Oh, I had trouble making it charge shot, because I think it may have been something to do with the slowdown. I tried minimizing the screen. Some of the people on Legend Station were like, yeah, just try making it smaller. So I did, and that didn't really fix it. Though it did fix it for the 25th anniversary one by Team Reaverbot. So at least I got to play that one at normal speed. I mean, for a free game, yeah, I think it was worth my money. But I didn't spend money, and if it were a pay game, I'm not entirely sure I would have picked it up, because it's the crossover of two things I'm not exactly into. Maybe I'd have... I mean, if it was like, oh yeah, the fate of Mega Man definitely, absolutely hinges on it, then yeah, I'd have bought it. But as long as it's free, then I guess that's fine. I think it's cool that they did make a fan game official, and I use official lightly. My fans. But yeah, that was pretty nice. And I mean, they did go out of their way. Like, if this is the only, I think this is the only game we're getting for the entire anniversary. I have zero expectations.
Yeah.
Well, going on that again, it's like when I was kind of disappointed that when Svensson said, there might not be another game. I can say with a safe bet, we're not gonna have Legends back right away, whatever. And then,
Legends 3.
and then Sky was just like, well, at least he was being honest rather than hesitant.
Yeah, I'd rather have that.
Yeah, me too.
Fingers crossed, though. Has anyone else taken the survey they put up?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I actually suspect that our Operation Download for Dash inspired that.
Cool. Yeah.
I have my suspicions.
I definitely told them, if you want my money, bring Legends back, and I will give it to you.
I remember.
I guess we have the X3.
I would like
collections. I like seeing collections more than I like seeing individual games that you have to pay for individually. Because, I mean, that's less money on us if you get them all in one go.
Yeah, I voted for the collections, too.
One question when I was taking it, one question asked, is Mega Man one of your favorite Capcom franchises? And I'm like, yeah, I like me some Legends. So I clicked yes. And then it's like, which of these games would you be interested in? And it posts all the classic ones and then all the X ones, and then has the space for additional comments. And I put probably not buy for all the classic and X because, again, I suck at them and I'm not into subjecting myself to aggravation. But for the additional comments, I said, you never asked which Mega Man is my favorite. I like Legends. And then the next page, look, Legends! Click, click, click. Yep.
Actually, Nathan, have you ever played Mega Man Zero?
Do it.
It plays
Zero, are you trying?
Zero made me want to rip out all my hair and eat it. It was so hard.
Zero,
it's awesome.
It's not just a linear game.
That you're Zero. Anyway.
Oh, come on. That's a cop-out answer, Laurent.
The beauty of it, though, it's not linear, so you can take your time. More so.
It's that serious. It's rage.
It's amazing.
Metroid 2 for the record.
Oh yeah, I suck at
You know how long it took me to get past the intro boss on Zero 1? It took me 7 years to get past the intro boss on 01.
Oh, that thing is kind of difficult.
I had to play pretty much all of them on the collection on easy mode, so it's not frustrating.
Easy mode is invincible mode on your part.
Well, the point is that's how the Cyber Elves work, so... Yeah.
How's that?
I said I never understood how the cyber elf even worked, so
Like
I completely
logistics?
ignored that aspect.
Oh, within the gameplay. Yeah. I never really used them myself because I heard they affected your score, so...
Well, if there's one thing I'd like to particularly see from Capcom, it's a sort of game where they take their franchises, all of them, and they put them together where they brawl against each other. And if at all possible, if we can add another company's franchises, maybe Marvel, I would love to see more of that. I'm joking, by the way.
That sounds like nothing they've ever made before.
Yeah, we'll have to wait till Marvel's 25th anniversary.
Up until that other...
They're owned by Disney now.
We'll call it DC versus Capcom to trick people.
Or Disney versus Capcom.
I did see that.
Disney owns Marvel.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wreck it.
I want to see Mega Man punch Mickey Mouse in the gut. I'm
Jump
horrible.
Shoot man, not jump punch man.
That's one of the abilities, you guys.
Gut punch.
I forgot.
Okay, we better move on someday.
One thing to say about this is just my personal opinion on Street Fighter X Mega Man. Is it just me, or well, maybe it's because I'm not used to classic games, but there were quite a few instances where I'm like, okay, wait, that's a part of the background, or is that? There were some instances where I couldn't tell what what in the game. I'm like, wait, that's a level?
Chun-Li's stage just confused me ridiculously in that regard.
That's what I was like.
Walls, run against those walls, and you'd think they were the background.
Well,
whoa, I can't jump on this?
Yeah.
Or go through some things. That Chun-Li's, yes, I believe that had the biggest issue with that. With something like Dalsum's, that was kind of the point where you didn't know what's what. But yeah, definitely that and a bit of Rolento's stage was you didn't really know too much.
If I hadn't seen it in the trailer, then that one letter in Roses that was sort of looked like the DNA strand or whatever, that up until that point was just a background object. If I hadn't seen that in the trailer, I would have never known that I could climb that thing and continue the stage.
Well, all in all, I think we can end on this is it may not be what we wanted, but for a fan game, it is good.
Well,
Yeah, I certainly
I'll
make better myself.
If nothing else, we can agree that this is an awesome fan effort, and he pretty much saved the anniversary, I think. Or it at least did everything in his power to.
It made people a bit more hopeful.
Yeah.
There's supposedly more where this came from. I remember them saying something along the lines that every single branch of Mega Man should get some time in the limelight during the course of the celebration.
I hope ours isn't that.
Well, Brelston was saying that the 25th anniversary would be more focused around classic because it's his anniversary.
I thought he said that the opening, the first few days, was focused on.
Well, Tuck.
Do you know how the sub-series wound up being birthday presents for Classic over the years?
No, Brelston said classic.
Well, classic, but I think
Real
classic Mega Man also, my opinion, it kind of encompasses the whole franchise because that's where it all began, right? And then it kind of escalated to these different things.
Well, it could easily if it wasn't always 8-bit.
Oh yeah, no.
Like I said, it's like driving a Model T Ford now.
I think it'd be cool if, like, it starts off 8-bit, then they make another, or even if it's a fan game, and then it goes to 16-bit, and then it goes to 3D sort of things. Because we kind of got, we still got the Fathom Blaka's Tuttle's Adventure King.
You know what I think would be cool? If somebody really smart could make a fan game that literally starts at the beginning as 8-bit and has progresses to get graphically more detailed.
I think they kind of did something like that in Super Mario Crossover 2. I remember there were stages where it was like 8-bit Mario, and stages where it's Game Boy Mario, and stages where it's 16-bit Mario, I think. And they did the same for all the other characters they included in the crossover. Like, you could play as Mega Man from the Game Boy games, Mega Man from the NES days, Mega Man from Mega Man 7.
Yeah, that actually seemed like it would be a good anniversary idea for things with anniversaries.
Yeah, Mega Man Generation, but on a good platform. That's not iOS.
Well, I mean, iOS itself isn't a bad platform, but Zover and the export to iOS were not exactly the best effort to make it work there.
No, I'm not saying that iOS is a bad platform. I'm just saying it works for some things and it doesn't work for others.
You need buttons if you're going to jump a shoot man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Alright, we're gonna go into the next topic now. It's still the other fan game, you know, with the Reaverbots, but like I said, I didn't play the demo yet because I honestly didn't have the time to download, or I wasn't totally aware of it yet. Guys, opinions?
I played it, and it was a lot more aggravating than even Street Fighter X Mega Man for me. I could not finish anything in that, but it's not that it's bad. There's one part in Bioman stage that annoyed the crap out of me. I'm not sure if it was just my incompetence or if this was actually a thing, but alright, for those of you who have played it, you know that bit near the beginning where there's that flaming green poop ball or something that jumps over the little platform?
Yep.
Is it even possible to not get hit by that thing?
Yeah,
I didn't get hit by that thing.
Just let it pass once, stand on the platform, let it go over you, and then jump back.
Okay, that's the thing for me. When I was standing on the platform, I could not find a place to stand where it would not hit me on its way over.
If you stand directly under where it's arcing, then it won't hit you.
So, we're falling that under I suck at Mega Man. Okay, cool. When I was talking about, like, Street Fighter being, like, having really easy stages, then, Team Reaverbot's kind of the opposite. I don't even think I was able to get to the checkpoint in Bioman stage.
There was a checkpoint?
It's really hard to get there.
Something else I want to say, though, is, I didn't actually notice this. A friend of mine who's a much bigger classic Mega Man fan picked up on it. Fighting Tarot Card Man, or Terra Man, he's got his little tarot card shield, and apparently which tarot card you shoot will determine what he does next. Oh. And I thought that was a pretty neat touch because it feeds into the fortune-telling theme of choosing your own fate and all that. So, it didn't really help me beat him or anything, but I thought it was a neat touch if it was intentional.
Huh.
Yeah, they did a lot of neat intentional things. Like, I noticed how the Bioman, those gun turret things, had slime that filled up, and as soon as the slime was all the way up to the top, it would shoot.
Alright.
Like, the detail they put into developing the enemy designs and how they attacked, that was really impressive. I think they did a better job than Street Fighter Cross Mega Man in that front. They were just incredibly hard to beat.
I was gonna say, I'd spend more time admiring the enemies if I wasn't so busy piling about 7,000 pellets into them in order to kill them.
Yeah,
I played this after Street Fighter X Mega Man, where I had the charge shot. It just...
Yeah.
It was painful. I'm just sitting there like, why won't you die? You're a green bubble. You should pop.
Well, I got a question, and remember, this game, I know, has a bunch of people who really are in the industry, so they have the experience, so they kind of have a bit more to work with, even if it's a fan game.
Yeah, I pretty much knew I'd enjoy it, even before I played Street Fighter Cross Mega Man, because it was being made by game industry professionals.
Sky, you obviously played this demo. Can you vouch for me? Does it feel like classic, like, let's say Mega Man 2 difficulty, challenging, and all the little touches in there? Does it feel like a classic Mega Man game?
Overall, yes. It does feel like an official classic Mega Man game. It does have a few things that I don't think Capcom would have put in there because I think they were just too cruel. My biggest nitpick, perhaps, was that Acid Joe. That thing, if you're lucky, you can get one pellet into it per cycle, and that's it. It guards so fast that I really don't think Capcom would have made that thing because it is just, it's just cool.
If Capcom had made that thing, they would have made it guard a little slower.
Yeah. I mean,
it might not have been such a pain if you could charge shot, but you can't.
I didn't really have any problems with dodging it at all. It's just that it guards so fast that I have problems putting shots into it.
Like, I'm wondering if there is an enemy that you beat elsewhere in the game that lets you bypass that waiting entirely.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about waiting.
You get a weapon that blasts through shields.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be Terraman first, just in the hope that I could get a weapon that was good against those things, and nope.
And another question, because I think it's kind of important to raise this too. Is there any aspects, not necessarily gameplay, but even if it's just like story, but any aspects from Legends in there?
Just the bonds, I think.
Yeah, not that I noticed. They said they were going to put Servbots. They said they were going to put Servbots in there, but nah, I haven't seen any yet.
So far,
Well,
I think all
I
they've
like
got.
the thing I saw in the trailer.
Like, these enemies do not look like anything the bonds would make, so if they're in charge of this...
Alright.
So far, I think the only scrap of Legends that's in there, aside from the logo when you boot it up, is the little Bond emblem that introduces each Robot Master.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, though.
You know, you never know. It's still a demo, so, you know, things could change easily.
Yeah, you never know. Tron just might have been on a classic Mega Man binge.
Yeah, that's
when this came out...
I had a couple nitpicks with this game, but overall I can pretty much disregard them because it is a demo overall.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. I feel like the bonds are kind of shoehorned into this, like they were an afterthought.
Yeah.
But it's better than nothing. At least it shows that people know Legends exists, and even if they were just a tacked-on afterthought, it shows that they care enough about the fans of Legends to want to appeal to them.
Right.
Yeah. Well, perhaps there will be some sort of story in which they're integrated, something like that.
Yeah, I remember them saying something along the lines of, like, one of the questions they had in an interview was whether or not Rush would be in the game. And they're like, we hope so. Tron hates dogs. And that made me smile.
Oh yeah, I read that too. That was funny.
So, yeah, even if it's a tacked-on afterthought, at least it seems to be an afterthought by people who know and love Legends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Tim, you were asking before, do I think that it really felt like a classic game?
A classic game, yeah.
Yeah, overall, yeah, I think it did way better than Street Fighter Cross Mega Man in the gameplay and mechanics design. I didn't notice any, and I mean, I didn't notice any quirks with the gameplay or aspects or level design in the game. Not any at all. Mega Man jumped to the exact same height that he does in the classic games. He slided perfectly. He jumped perfectly. The rate for firing was perfect, and the pixel time for when you're not pixel time. The time for when you're hit is the exact same. They maintain that aspect perfectly.
So they basically crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's?
Yep, that's right. It was polished. I have to say that much for it. It was very polished.
Well, that's another great thing is that they got, like I said, these people do have experience in the industry, so it is kind of reassuring too in that sense that it is gonna. Especially when they said that, yeah, we're all huge Mega Man fans, that you know that they were gonna put that extra effort in, especially because of the 25th anniversary.
Right. There was one little thing I noticed near the end of the game, though. When you beat both bosses, it'll take you back to the level select screen, and you can replay those bosses all over again. When you select one of the bosses or one of the stages to play all over again, the music from the stage select screen continues to play. And if you die in that stage again and go back to the level select screen, it'll replay it a second time and sort of mix with that sound already. If you know what I mean.
So just a little design bug, it seems.
Yeah, it's just a bug, but...
I don't know, I like dying. You get to hear the main gate theme.
No, it's not that music, it's the level select music.
Oh, so what, the main gate theme, is it like 8-bit renditions of Legend songs? Oh,
yeah, that
cool.
was really
that
cool.
was awesome.
It didn't really make much sense, but it was awesome.
So, yeah, it was nice to hear that song, because it's such a great song that would... I thought it would have remixed really well if it had been in We Are Rockmen 2 instead of another Flutter versus Missile Shaft, but that's another tale for another time.
They should have done the train theme.
Kind of annoyed me, but yeah.
The train theme was a good one, too.
I loved the train theme.
Train theme's very well suited to rock. The main gate theme. And I know a lot of people who want to hear We Are the Bond Brothers.
Another one I really liked was the that side quest mission with when you're chasing the police. Or no, the police are chasing the Servbots.
Yeah.
That's also an awesome one. I love that.
I think it's the Apple Market or the Lakeside Town that I really like. from Legends, from the whole OST.
Is it the do-do-do-do-do-do, or is the other one?
Yeah, it's that one, one.
Yeah, it's Apple Market.
Okay.
Kind of hard to remix that one, though. It's, like, too iconic, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the only one who, like, hears it in his head as he's doing grocery shopping, am I?
Not at all. I'm not the only one who puts it on their iPod as they're going grocery shopping.
I don't have an iPod, so yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I actually know people in real life who do it, too.
Oh.
Actually got people started on it in real life.
Legends, that's the thing. Going to the music on that, Mega Man has the whole rock themes, it's really catchy and it gets in you, but I don't know how to describe Legends music. It's memorable, but it seems more to be based around the environment rather than just being, heavy rock music.
It's less of a genre and more
pop? No.
Pop?
Not really. We have classic music too.
Yeah, it suits, whenever music plays, it suits the scenario. That's the best way I can describe it. I'm not very
Yeah, it's like story came first, and it turned out really well.
If I can make a comparison, like, again, going back to Ace Attorney, maybe Laurent will get this. You know how each character has their own themes, but it really does suit the character, depending on the whole situation?
Yep.
It's that sort of thing I mean.
Ace Attorney actually had a jazz album. That sounded pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, and a cadenza or something like that.
Yeah, cadenza was also pretty good.
Yeah, that's the one thing you can always count on for Capcom titles is the music is always just spot on. Most of the time, there might be the odd one missing. But
okay. We have anything else to say about Team Reaverbot's fan game?
I'm looking forward to seeing more.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially more Legends-related stuff.
I'm looking forward to actually trying it.
I want to see how.
Damn, you should have played it.
I didn't have time. I didn't know.
And I'm the only person here who finished the game. Thanks, Tim. I know you would have finished it if you played it.
Apparently, all you get for finishing the game, though, is a glitch. So.
Well, that's fun in its own way.
Well, they have a message saying, "Spoiler, spoiler."
Ah, spoiler. Interesting.
That tells me so much.
I don't want to spoil it. People listening may have yet to play the game.
That's what you do with spoilers, though. You spoil them.
No, don't do it.
Not me, man. Okay, so props to Team Reaverbot.
Yep. Okay, so now the Operation Download for Dashe. Obviously, the whole idea was...
I can summarize it if you want, Tim.
Yeah, actually, Sky, you know it better than I do. Go ahead and...
Okay, so for a quick summary, this was... Operation Download for Dashe was an idea brought up by Arcades from Get Me Off the Moon, and inspired by a statement from Sven of Capcom USA. Basically, he stated that Street Fighter Cross Mega Man would be acting as an interest gauge of sorts that would... and that the number of downloads for the game would help them in determining the direction for the Mega Man franchise next. Now, this statement was extremely vague to say the least, but nonetheless, he said it and we decided to take advantage of it to support Mega Man Legends. So, basically what each of us over at Get Me Off the Moon is doing is downloading Street Fighter Cross Mega Man, taking a screen cap of the game, and posting it on the Capcom JP and Capcom US Facebook pages, along with a message stating something along the lines of, I don't know, I downloaded Street Fighter Cross Mega Man to show my support for the Mega Man Legends series or something. But, yeah, now I think it's important to note that this campaign is not particularly aimed at getting Legends 3 back, although that would be incredibly awesome too, but more so to show our support for the Mega Man Legends series as a whole. So...
I think, like, one of the main aspects, though, was that a chief worry about, after Sven made that announcement, the chief worry about when people had about downloading Street Fighter X Mega Man was that it would voice your want for 8-bit Mega Man throwbacks and nothing else.
Right.
And crossovers.
So by specifically posting that I downloaded this to show support for Mega Man Legends, it helps clear that up and sort of absolves us from guilt while still being able to download the game.
Yep. So, thoughts?
Well, it's like anything, you gotta elaborate. Like I've said before, that no 100% guarantees, but it's one of those, it helps kind of get that message clear. It's like, we'd like to see something Legends related. We like this, we'd like to see more Mega Man, but specifically we want Legends. So that's good in the sense that it's made clear, and it's not saying do this or else sort of attitude. I think it's a good idea. I think they'll definitely, I'm sure even Brelston or Svensson or anything will see that. Yeah, they'll definitely see that.
Thanks.
That's the good thing.
Yeah, I have to compliment the people who have been participating in this campaign so far. They have been very civil with their messages, and they are following the rules. Not being spammy or anything.
The rules!
How often does that happen?
Like, never.
And also,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw a pretty big turnout when I was kind of late to the party and getting my screenshot out there, but I saw it was pretty much flooded with them, so I think it's been going pretty well.
And I don't think anyone's. That's another thing, because we're at a time right now where things have sort of calmed down, so people are handling this a little bit better than just like yelling, "Screw you, Capcom," sort of thing.
Right.
So that to me, I say this because it's more effective if you kind of have that sense of like, not realism, but I guess maturity would be the word, although not that strong. I want something a bit more humble.
Civility.
Civility, yeah, that's it. And like I said, that's probably the best thing you can do. So.
And I guess you'd also think that Street Fighter Cross Mega Man helped calm people down a bit more, because people were seeing that Capcom does care enough about the franchise to license something, game.
To jump through the legal hoops that would be required to get this thing made by a fan and have it be an official Capcom product.
Right.
And I imagine there was probably a lot more hoops than we'd think.
Yeah, there must be. It's not the first time they've noted a fan game, but it's the first time they've,
officially endorsed one.
Market it.
I mean, they've posted fan games on their blog before. But never, hey, this is for the anniversary, guys. Coming out, it's free, and it's official.
Do you think they could have done otherwise, though? I mean, release it for free? Because it is a fan game, and, would they really want to risk getting into trouble with something like that?
Well, so long as you have the guy sign the required, legal waivers, then it shouldn't be that big of a problem. And, he probably still got paid for developing it, as, a thank you or something.
I think he got paid more in the experience that he's getting.
Yeah, I mean, if the game's being released for free, he couldn't have gotten paid that much.
Yeah.
I doubt that Capcom, paid him. I think, but the experience that he's getting is amazing.
Yeah, and it's good feedback, and you got a big publisher like Capcom. It's definitely more rich in experience, like I was saying.
Okay, so are we done here?
Yep. I think that's pretty much it.
I'd like to say one last thing. Regardless of how much Capcom's put out for the anniversary of US or Japan Capcom, I think we could agree that the fans have pretty much picked up the slack.
You gonna do that birthday analogy about the friends celebrating but the family not celebrating?
Do you want me to?
Yes. That's a good analogy.
Okay, in short, it's the equivalent of all your friends getting together to celebrate your birthday while your parents ignore it completely.
You've got to be a kid, too, to make it, work.
I don't know, it stings a lot when you're old, too, and you have siblings around that age who get birthdays, and you don't. Like, if you're 25 and you've got a brother who's also 25, and he got this huge party from the family and got a car, and you didn't get anything except your friends had this huge thing, then...
Here, son, have a gumball.
Have a coat hanger and a toothpick like Harry Potter.
Get back in the garage.
Here's a couple paper clips and a Subway coupon.
Stepchild of the series. It's usually the redheaded stepchild who gets the coolest future.
Alright, guys, so is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah,
Plot twist. No, we don't have anything else.
Nope.
okay, if you guys have any ideas for new Neo Devroom ideas, or new Neo Devroom events, or private ideas, or
campaign ideas.
Yeah, campaign ideas, or just news tips or whatever, just message our Facebook group, which is Facebook.com/GetMeOffTheMoon, and yeah, join the dev room, sign the petition, and join our latest campaign, which is Operation Download for Dashe. You can
and fill
find
out
that.
the survey too.
Oh yeah, we should mention that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Even if you're not like majorly a Legends fan, if you're a fan of something like Breath of Fire or Power Stone, I was really surprised to see Power Stone on there.
Yeah, I actually threw Power Stone a bone and Strider and Breath of Fire, even though I'm not really into them. I just know that they haven't had games in a while, so...
Yeah.
Plasma Sword.
Yeah, root for the underdog, guys.
Yep.
And I'll throw that link in the description, so you can check that out too.
Alright, guys, and until then...
Legends never die.
Cancellations really did put him in that stressful position. I'll agree. I'm not saying it wasn't expected, but at the same time, it's just, yeah, I would not want to have been him.
It might just be me thinking this, but if Capcom expected the level of backlash regarding Legends cancellation as they've actually gotten, maybe they wouldn't have done it. Like, maybe they didn't actually realize people cared this much.
Oh, it wasn't just that, it was like everything that was going on in that time, and it just all added up into one big pile, and it just got worse from there.
Yeah, I don't think that I think that they were thinking a little bit, I don't think they were thinking in terms of what this can actually mean for Mega Man as a whole. They were just doing, separate actions. Okay, we're planning for this game, we'll go quiet on this game, we'll keep this game going, but they haven't gotten the green light yet. Okay, no green light, cancel that game. I don't think that they really understood the severity of the situation.
And the long-term implications.
Okay, I'm just gonna see the order.
Wait,
So it's gonna be me.
Can you say it in French?
The heck?
Nah, not yet.
El Francais, eh? Alright,
Just trying to spice things up.
that just threw me off.
Other
completely.
things.
Say it in German.
I don't speak German.
Hold on.
Yes,
What's the French word for die? I could say it in French.
No.
Wait, I've got a German dictionary. Well, I want Mega Man versus Ace Attorney. Don't you guys?
Music, it'd be pretty cool. Just think of the items he can get. A web, air bubbles, slamming the desk. I have no idea where I'm going with this. Alright guys, so remember until then...
Legends ne mourit pas. I think.
Mourir.
They'll call it mourir. Mourir. Legends ne mourit pas. I think.
Yeah. Legends don't die.
Legends don't die. Legends ne mourit jamais. Legends never die. My accent flows.
I'm completely confused by this.
You asked for the French.
I asked for German.
Somebody asked
Honest, a long time.
Say it really angry too. Well, off topic of it, but whenever I tend to get into arguments, I just can't help but think of Ace Attorney music. I really can't help it. It's off topic.
Support your
Anyway.
arguments with facts or get out of my courtroom.
Exactly. I always slam the table now like Edgeworth. Oh, God. And no, I'm at work when I do it, too, so people are just kind of like, all they hear is a really loud bang, and it's just like, is something wrong? No, I just thought it was cool. But no,
I guess that about covers this then.
You might see the next, what's the name?
Innocent?
Oh. God, why can't I remember your name? Weird fighting game, Street Fighter, Seth.
Yoshinori Ono?
No, Seth.
Oh, Seth, yeah. How Seth started off as a fan and then became...
Seth. Well, I mean, I guess he was always Seth, but Capcom Seth.
I mean, Seth started off as a fan, and
then he got an emoticon button.
And then he became a very difficult boss in a fighting game.
Yes.
No, actually, there's one on Yuzionka. The girl with the blue hair.
Oh, you mean the punk rocker girl who's like...
Yeah, a lot of Legend Station people call her Dami for some reason. Like Dominatrix, Dami.
Okay.
This conversation sort of took a weird turn.
Yeah.
Moral of the story is, I said...
Legends is weird. So yeah, Legends is weird, but crossover's weirder.
Legends is the runt of the litter, and XOver is just... well, less said possible.
Yeah, no comment.